Hello, my name is Belen and I am an ally board member for Spanish-speaking South America, Caribbean, and Mexico region. I have had the pleasure and fortune to be involved with the wonderful Living Values education approach for almost 20 years. During this time, I have had the opportunity to do different activities with students, teachers, parents, and caregivers. One of the main and unique aspects of this approach is the creation of a values-based atmosphere. Based on the premise that for something to have the desired impact or to be effective, an emotional component needs to be involved first. That is, both the one who teaches and the one who learns need to feel that they are part of the process that takes into consideration the human need to feel loved, respected, valued, understood, and safe. A values-based atmosphere implies freedom from those involved in the learning process, students, teachers, parents, caregivers, to be attuned to their own values. The unique and specific living values training sessions guide their participants in the process of reconnecting with their own values, reliving through visualizations and other practical exercises the values that matter most to them. Along with other practices, this process helps them understand the importance of living their values from within and modeling them in their daily work, so that creating a values-based atmosphere becomes a natural part of their learning process. I am now going to share my screen and walk you through what is living values. Those are our 12 values, core values. I want to start asking you this question so you can have the same experience that so many people around the world have had or have when they're doing this training. I want you to think for a couple minutes, what two values will most change the world if everyone lived them? Can you think of those two values? Now, you've chosen those two values important for you. Imagine that world, a world where everyone will be living those values. What kind of a world would it be? This is what we do at Living Value, and the premise from the Treasure Within, this report to UNESCO of the International Commission of Education for the 21st Century by Jacques Delors and a team of 15 eminent educators. UNESCO strongly believes in education as a means of creating peace and international understanding. And these are the four pillars: learning to do, learning to know, learning to be, and learning to live together. The education is concerned with developing people and using systems. Systems can support change, but the real change is in the hearts and minds of people. What is the purpose of education? Let's imagine. In contemporary society, could the main function of education be the flourishing of humanity, including personal and social well-being and development of the whole person, as well as attainment and achievement? This is the birth of Living Values. First, there was the Living Values Guidebook and was published by Brahma Kumaris to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the United Nations. In it was a chapter of values activities for youth. 20 educators from across the world met at UNICEF headquarters in New York in August 1996 at the invitation of the head of early childhood education at UNICEF and the Brahma Kumaris. The importance of a nurturing environment and values of education for all children was discussed. Planned to create a comprehensive values education program for young people, and there was a pilot at 240 sites, and it began in February of 1997. Values involve three core assumptions. The first is universal values teach respect and dignity for each and every person. Learning to enjoy those values promotes well-being for individuals and the larger society. Each student does care about values and has the capacity to positively create and learn when provided with opportunities. Students thrive in a values-based atmosphere, in a positive, safe environment of mutual respect and care, where students are regarded as capable of learning to make socially conscious choices. And from here is that the values-based atmosphere is established. What is living values education? Nurturing hearts and educating minds. Living values educators model values and create an atmosphere in which young people feel loved, valued, respected, understood, and safe. Young people explore and develop values with facilitated living values activities and learn healthy social and emotional skills. Living values education supports respect and dignity for each person. The curriculum is designed to work with diverse cultures and backgrounds. It is very universal. AIF, on the other hand, is the Association for Living Values Education International. It's a non-profit organization established in 2004 in Switzerland. It oversees the development and advancement of living values education and groups together national bodies promoting the use of the living values education approach, and is an independent organization that does not have any particular or exclusive religious, political, or national affiliation or interest. Living values education continues to be part of the global movement for a culture of peace, following the United Nations International Decade for a Culture of Peace and Nonviolence for the Children of the World. Now, we do exploring and developing universal values for a better world. So we work with 12 values that have the same meaning in any language and any culture. Peace, respect, cooperation, responsibility, simplicity, honesty, freedom, tolerance, love, humility, happiness, and unity. And all our activities are around this 12 values. Now, purpose. One of the purposes of Living Values Education approach is to provide guiding principles and tools for development of the whole person, recognizing that the individual is comprised of physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual dimensions. The aims. One of the aims is to help individuals to think about and reflect on different values and the practical implications of expressing them in relation to themselves, others, the community, and the world at large. Another aim is to deepen the knowledge, understanding, motivation, and responsibility with regard to making positive personal and social choices. And another aim is to invite and inspire individuals to explore, express, experience, and choose their own social, moral, and spiritual values, and be aware of practical methods for developing and deepening them. Also, to encourage and support educators and caregivers to look at education as providing students with a philosophy of living, thereby facilitating their overall growth, development, and choices, so they may integrate themselves into the community with respect, confidence, and purpose. So now I want to talk to you about this theoretical model. Living Values has the premise that when the educator is in touch with his or her personal values, then there is a creation of a school ethos. If everyone in the school gets in touch with their values, teach values, there is peace, caring, respect, and positive relationships. All the positive behaviors that what they do is they create more positive behaviors because they are addressed with love, value, respect, understanding, and make the person feel all of this at their school, including the adults involved. But on the contrary, when the motivation and control at the school is through fear, shame, and punishment, so we have all these negative behavior patterns that make the person feel inadequate, hurt, afraid, shamed, and unsafe. So at Living Values Education, what we do is we help everyone involved, we teach everyone involved to learn to create a values-based atmosphere, remaining above the middle line, and making everyone feel loved, valued, respected, understood, and safe. We developed a series of books in 2001, and this series of books won a Teacher's Choice Award for 2002. And we have been updating all these materials since 2018. And these are the current updated and expanded Living Values Education Activity books, and they by ages 3 to 7, 8 to 14, and for young adults. These are book one for each age group. Book two is coming very soon. We have also updated and expanded Living Values Education activities for the training education guide for the educators and the parenting guide, and we also created a book for caring for the earth and her oceans as Living Values Education's gift to young people of the world and the United Nations COP27 in November 2022. Some results that I want to share. We have a ton of them, and you can always go to our webpage, livingvalues.net. Let's talk about the experience they've had in Thailand. This Living Values Education Schools won the nation's Royal Award as the best school in the country for 2 years in a row. And the administrators of the school, St. Joseph Bagna School, that has at the time 3,310 students, reported these numbers in 22 months of implementing Living Values as a whole school. So you can see all the goodness that practicing and using Living Values Education in the school as a whole brings to everyone. In South Africa, there was this experience with troubled high school students that had problems with drugs, violence, and carjacking, and they turned around completely with a 2-year period of time with Living Values Education activities. By the second year, they were acting as Living Values Education team leaders, doing values workshops with their peers. There is also this wonderful school in Kuwait, American school, that has been implementing Living Values for over 20 years. And they have also grown as a family, a community of learners. Students feel they express their values, they use their own moral compass, and they have become ambassadors of how to live their values. There are practically no referrals and no form of physical violence in the school. And peacetime and mindfulness are widely practiced. And you will hear from Peter William further along during this presentation. He wrote this book, Practical Strategies to Start, Strengthen, and Sustain Values-Based Learning in 2019. It is very important to understand the loving presence of the educator in a values-based atmosphere who models and lives their values with kindness. There's a healing strength, confidence, and trust in the whole process. There are also Living Values activities for refugees and children affected by war. You can see some of the moments here. And we have also Living Values materials for children at risk. And these materials have proven to reduce violence considerably and increased self-confidence, self-protective skills, and values-based behaviors. And we have the report. Our Living Values Education team in Brazil has trained educators who have served over 75,000 street children in that country. And there is also the Living Values activities for children affected by earthquakes that was created for educators in El Salvador. And the Living Values activities for street children, we have 3 different age group books, 3 to 6, 7 to 10, and 11 to 14. We also have Living Values activities for drug rehabilitation. In Vietnam, the Ministry of Labor in March 2008, they reported that Living Values Education's approach and program for drug rehabilitation was the most successful program in government drug rehabilitation clinics. And they have been using it at that time for 3 years, but there is a continuous using and a continuous success. Some thoughts. Values education is being seen increasingly as having a power quite beyond a narrowly defined moral or citizenship agenda. It is being seen to be at the center of all that a committed teacher and school could hope to achieve through teaching. It is in this respect that it can be fairly described as the missing link in quality teaching and quality learning. Terry Lovett and Ron Toomey. And since 2017, we have been developing the long-distance learning for adults online. And again, livingvalues.net is our webpage. You are more than welcome to visit anytime you want. And these booklets are ready to be for you to download and start exploring with them. We have home study for adults, the distance facilitator training, and further along in this presentation, you're going to learn more about that. Study groups, the self-reflection 12-week Living Values Education self-reflection is a wonderful step so you can start your journey through your personal values with that booklet. Again, we invite you to explore and develop universal values for a better world. It is really a wonderful experience and an amazing feeling of fulfillment and joy to see how young adults in their final years of high school feel so comfortable expressing their opinions and solutions to different problems, knowing that their opinion will be respected and valued, even if they are diametrically opposed to those of the majority. I have found that it's also wonderful to see the shine in the eyes of individuals working and learning in an environment like this, a values-based atmosphere. How children and young adults strive to behave in the most positive way possible, knowing that they will be understood and valued. Even when their behavior is not the most desirable or positive, they know for sure that they will not be punished, but listened to and supported to find ways to transform and move forward. This type of environment helps to build bridges of understanding and appreciation that are not experienced with any other practice. This is Living Values.